Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the very best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Your host is Clay Koerner and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board is Greg Held, our producer. Clay, great show with author, political consultant Doug Johnson last week.
Doug was an awesome individual.
Yeah, he's a sharp guy. I'd like to have him on again before November. We got a lot of feedback off that show. I was kind of surprised.
I got a lot of personal feedback, too.
Yeah, I did, too. Our second guest was Michael Prince from the Gaslight Melodrama here in Bakersfield, and you went to the production of Housewives of Oildale over the weekend. How was it?
A lot of fun.
Is it?
Oh, it's a great show.
Yeah, he called it his Oildale trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, My Big Fat Oildale Wedding, and then Trout's, and then this one, so...
They even mentioned Trout's again.
Did they?
In the this particular show.
I was surprised that when we had him on, he said his most favorite show of all time was Trout's. I thought he was going to say Oildale Wedding.
I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was surprised.
cool.
Yeah. Next week, our special guest is State Senator Michael Rubio in the first half, and it should be a very interesting conversation. You don't want to miss that one because we already have talked to his office and said that there are some issues we have with him, and they said have at it. So.
Choo-choo.
Definitely high-speed rail is one of them. Today, the second half, we have an old friend of the program, Sally Pipes, president of the Pacific Research Institute, talking about Obamacare, Clay's favorite subject.
Love it.
Yep. But in the first half, we have Melanie Kirkland and Julie Tonneslan. Julie, did I pronounce that right?
Tonneslan.
Tonneslan? That sounds Norwegian, doesn't it? To talk about the King's College of Nursing opening up here in Bakersfield. Melanie, Julie, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you guys here. So, the obvious question is, when are you opening?
Well, we are opening as soon as we have all of the ducks in a row to get open. We are right now in the process of finishing up our nonprofit status. We should be hearing from the IRS any day. We're expecting that little letter in the mail that says, "Yay, you have nonprofit status."
I got a letter from the IRS the other day myself.
I did too.
Wasn't the same.
I'm on their mailing list.
I'm on their profit status program.
Oh. Well, I keep on waiting for that, dial number 9 to get off the mailing list, and it never comes to the IRS.
Sorry, Julie.
Yeah, once you're on that list, you're on that list.
Well, we don't want to be on
that
Clay's
list.
Yeah,
list.
no, not on Clay's list, and definitely not on Marty's list. So is pretty much you're looking at the IRS status. Do you have the accreditation? Is that
once we have the nonprofit status, then we will start to do our fundraising, and then we need to raise about $1.6 million in order to get all of the infrastructure together to actually open the doors. We need things like desks and, walls for classrooms.
Sure.
We have a facility, but we need to do the build out for that facility, and then we need all of the desks and all of the computers and things like that, actually textbooks,
Wow,
So,
1.6. Do you think we can swing that, Marty?
Well, you could take it out of petty cash. So, assuming you could get the 1.6,
right.
What are you looking at as far as a timeline? What is your timeline?
Our timeline is fall of 2013 to actually start holding the classes for general education for the college.
Okay, so you're looking at another year and a half in essence.
Right. Well,
about a year. Actually a year. That's right, because we're
Right.
looking at September 2012 coming up, this fall semester.
Correct.
So you're looking at a year.
So right now we're in the process of looking for our dean of nursing. So we're looking for someone that has a master's degree in nursing, and we are and who's also a Christian, because we are a Christian college.
Sure.
That's really important to us. So we're looking for that individual, and once that's in place, then we will put the curriculum together. We're working with a college down in the Los Angeles area that will help us establish our accreditation, and then everything should fall into place very rapidly once we get the Dean of Nursing on board and we have the money in order to build out the facility.
Yeah, and a year doesn't seem like a long time, but it really is. But you just have a lot of ducks that you have to line up in the next year.
You really do.
That makes
a
difference. Our in-studio guests are Melanie Kirkland and Julie Tonneslan. Is that close?
Very close,
Okay,
yes.
okay. With the King's College of Nursing here in Bakersfield.
Now, you've got a year and a half to go to get this open, but don't you have another program going on prior to that called a boot camp?
We really do. King's College of Nursing is actually brought on Julie Tonneslan to build another program that we're very excited about, and it's called King's Academic Bootcamp, and I'll let Julie tell you about the academic bootcamp.
Okay, great. The boot camp is for those students that are not quite prepared for college. They're wanting to get into college, but they're afraid. They're afraid because they're underprepared or their skills have been so rusty over years of time of not being in school, or that they've just been out of school for a little bit of time and they don't feel quite up to par with getting their skills in order.
Do they have to be a nursing type student to go to this boot camp?
No, not at all. This is for any student who is wanting to start their college education, but are, again, underprepared. So we have these students who have just left high school, have gone up to a local community college, have decided that they want to take that assessment test. They get that assessment test and they find out that they will be spending at least a year, if not more, in remedial education before they can ever receive their college credits. So what they're trying to do is find a way around that, not spending years and years in remedial education, because statistically we lose about 87% of those students. They never graduate from college. Wow. If they have to begin a remedial education. And unfortunately, the students that are going to our community colleges straight from high school, 80% of those students have to take one or more remedial courses.
Do you also help them with their SAT or the ACT?
We do. We have SAT prep, we have CLEP prep, we have everything that we can do to get that student into college. And then we have a second, I would say, a division that is more important even than that, and that is to prepare the student and give them the skills that they need in order to succeed in college. They don't have the tools to succeed. They don't know how to organize their coursework and prioritize. And they go to these classes, 3 or 4 classes a day. They come home and they don't have any idea what to study first, what was most important, when that test was. So we're able to break apart the syllabus, put that in order for that student, and he or she is ready to go.
It's amazing. I've told the story before, I think, when Melanie was here. I used to have an office. I'm an insurance agent. I used to have an office in Sherman Oaks. Excuse me. And I had one of my secretaries had a degree in English literature and another English degree. And her spelling was absolutely atrocious. I mean, she didn't even use spell check half the time, but it was really, really bad. So I had to let her go. And after we went through the initial, everybody's sad and crying and everything, I asked her, I said, I really need to ask you this question. How did you get 2 degrees, one in English literature, and have such horrible spelling? She said, they just passed me on.
Right.
Which I thought was, that's horrible. You just pass people on, and, how do you get a degree and not be able to spell?
Exactly, that there's a little bit of a misstep there before they graduate from high school. But the student graduates, they think that they're ready to go. In fact, they may even have a 3.0 GPA.
Sure.
And they get up there to that college and they find out they are not ready. And so discouragement begins right there. A lot of them give up right then and decide, I'm not smart enough to do this. And so they go off to work. Others start the remedial courses, and then they spend years doing this, and they feel like they're in this spiral that they will never get out of. And so what we want to do with our program, with the boot camp, is it's an intense program, but we push them. We have 15 weeks, and we push those students 6 hours a day, and we get them excited about learning again. We fill those gaps that they may have in math or in science and reading and writing. But it's just like you said, when you run into these people out there that can't spell, that can't write, you hear that from educators, business people all over the place, that is exactly what we're having around us nationwide as well as locally. Yeah. So it's not just our local problem or statewide problem. It is national.
It is a national problem. And that's a fantastic program, because what you're doing is you're giving the kids the confidence that they don't have, even if they, like you say, may have good grades. If you don't have the English and the math skills, you're not going to cut it. So when we come back, let's expand on that a little bit, okay? We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.